Welcome back to Harmon Homestead. It is hot here again in Alabama. It is so hot outside, guys, and we're not supposed to have a break for the next week and no rain. So we go from no rain and heat to rain all week to no rain. So it's been a couple weeks since we've had any rain to amount to anything. It's just scattered showers. It'll rain up the road and then not rain here. So welcome back to the channel. I want to talk to you guys today about something very, very different, and it's about prepping. Are you prepared? That's been a huge series for us. We've done that. We've talked about everything from the economy to whatever. But today I want to talk about something that most people that are preppers on YouTube that I follow do not talk about. I don't really have time to watch them though, so I will say I don't know if they're talking about it or not, but it's not been one of their heavy hitter subjects that I have seen in the past. And we all think of these terrible events that may happen, and that's what we prepare for. But are you prepared for cabin fever? So that's going to be the topic today. So if any terrible event happens, you're looking at no cell service, more than likely. You're looking at no satellite TV, more than likely. You may have a radio, but I don't know if it depends on how bad the event will be. Are you able to get in any kind of station? Will the stations be operating? You know, we don't know. Even if one of those things are knocked out, specifically a cell phone, this is tough. Okay, and I can say this from somebody that uses a cell phone a good bit. Hurricane Zeta, I've talked about this over and over. When it came through central Alabama here, the eye hit right in our area within a mile. We were without cell service for 8 days. 8 days. We had no way to contact anybody, and it was just me and my husband. Now, we had neighbors, everybody knew what was going on, but just not having that is a wake-up call. Not being able to communicate with someone. And then sets in panic. If you can't let your people know where you are, if you can't get a hold of your people, if you can't drive down the road, if you can't, we're talking about a severe catastrophe. But even if it was something like an EMP, communication taken out, a cyber attack, anything like that, you may be alone. Now, I was one of these people that said, look, drop me off in Alaska, I can never see another human again, and I would be happy. Well, it's even affected me, okay? Just living on this homestead alone and being here alone out in the woods for the past just a little over a year, really, not even a year and a half, it's tough, okay? It starts wearing on you after a while. So how do you prepare for that? I think you need to be aware of it first and know that it could be a possibility. Now, I still got all the luxuries. I've got satellite, cell phone, we've got things like that. But just being at home alone all day, no kids, just say your spouse is at work or say you don't have a spouse. If you're all alone, are you prepared for that? Now, people always talk about bug out bags and if we've got to go to the woods. Are you going to do that alone? Are you going to be out in the woods alone for an X amount of time? Guys, this is tougher than you think. That's like in the Bible, John was sent to Patmos as a punishment alone on an island. That was a terrible punishment. So, this is not how we were intended to be. So if you do have a very small family, at least you've got them to depend on. I'm just saying not going out to the woods. I'm saying being here at home if you don't have cell service. That's a huge thing. And we need to be prepared for that. Even if you do, you're apt to get cabin fever. You go stir crazy. You don't see a human. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think this is extremely important. We need to build up our communities, and we need to know who our friends are and have friends, and we need to interact with them. The problem is today in society, though, is people don't want to. They really don't want to, if you want to know the truth. Ever since 2020 and the shutdowns, people really just want to be reserved. They'd rather, chill and watch Netflix all day. They really don't want to get out amongst other people. 2020 was a good idea. If you think about being locked in the house with your kids for a month, if you've got kids, it's going to be 10 times worse if something terrible does happen. And everybody went stir crazy during COVID, okay? Can you imagine if it really was something just where you had no cell service, you had no communication with the outside world, you are really like locked in? It's going to be terrible. And furthermore, how are you going to know something happens if you don't have a way of communication? It may be so bad again, the radios are not working. The people that run these stations and get information out, we don't know if that event ever does occur. But the real the real idea that I'm looking at is just for homesteaders. I see a lot of women are coming home, they're homesteading, their husbands are still working. Most of them have kids, some do not. If you stay at home all day, it's tough, okay? The only interaction I've had is going to church, and then my chickens, my dogs, my cats, like that's it. And that's tough after a while. It gets really tough. And it'll sneak up on you. You just never know when it will affect you as far as not being around people. And when you are thrown back around people, guys, that's tough. Okay, you get nervous. You don't know how to act. You think everybody's looking at you. You become like a recluse. So be aware of that and stay active. Now, as far as communities, I wish communities would build up. But like I said, it's tough when no one wants to. It's tough when people do not want to communicate with you. It's tough when you don't want to communicate with other people. It's very, very tough in this society. It's very fast-paced and everything's electronic and that's it. Forget the electronic communication. Do you see a face day in and day out? Do you see multiple people? A lot of people don't that homestead. Again, you may think it's fine. You may be to the point in your life where that's what you want. I said that myself. But it's tough when you have trials and tribulations come through life and events happen and you need someone to lean on and you don't really have anybody. I can say that from experience. This summer, we've just had a tough summer. But I was thinking about cabin fever and stir crazy and just a way to prepare for it. Again, I would keep in communication with people. I would try to see them face to face. I would try to do something outside of the homestead. This can't hurt you, just knowing your area, okay? The only thing I would be leery about is being very good friends with somebody that may, turn on you in the end if something bad happens. And that is a very high possibility. That is, it's survival of the fittest, each his own. We're going through unprecedented times right now. The world is just on fire and people are not, the spirit of love and the spirit of happiness is dwindling quickly. And it's just it seems like it's a very hostile environment everywhere you go. And so it's tough even finding friends. A lot of people are having trouble with that. There's not many like-minded people. And if they are, we're all, scattered out abroad. And, this may be the only interaction someone will get today with somebody. You think about shut-ins. That's terrible. And that happens every day. And all they've got is the people that come see them, people that are homebound, people in nursing homes. You think about this, it's not just a homestead. There's really, honestly, guys, I can't say a good way to prepare for this, but I think we need to be aware of it. Now, I brought this in here. I want to show you guys this. If you are just alone, and say you are sitting here twiddling your thumbs, okay, and something happens, you're just completely alone. You have no friends. You have nowhere to go. You can't go anywhere. You are completely secluded. What could you do to make it better? You have no contact with the outside world. The things that I would say would probably help would be literature to read. That way you feel like maybe you're in someone else's story. Really. I'm going to show you this right here. It's been passed down through civilizations, okay? Music. This is my Amazon mandolin. You do not have to be rich to get a musical instrument. And heaven help, everybody I know of tries to get rid of a piano and you can't give it away for free, okay? So you could learn to play music. This is very easy. It could be some kind of comfort, really just noise, okay? Music, literature, and trying to be content. That's all I can think of. If y'all can think of anything else, I'm trying to think way outside the box here and think if something bad really happened and we were secluded, what would you do to keep from having cabin fever? You've got to entertain your mind. You cannot sit and dwell on one thing all day. You can't. And especially if a bad thing does happen and you're sitting here dwelling on it constantly, that will drive you nuts, okay? You've got to have distractions, okay? Y'all let me know what you think. It's just, this may never happen, okay? But for a lot of people, like I said, any kind of disaster may never happen. But it is happening daily with shut-ins. It is happening with nursing home patients. It is happening with people that go to your local church, and you would never suspect. What can you do? What can you do? And the problem is in society today, even if someone is needing help, a lot of people refuse it because The attitudes are different. It's very, very different. We've got to make a positive impact. So y'all let me know what you could do to avoid cabin fever. If you were just in the awfulest situation, you were all alone, music and literature and keeping a sound mind is very, very, very important. Trying your best not to let it drive you crazy. Having distractions, having fun, making the best out of it that you can, because I foresee definitely again in my lifetime cell service will be taken out. That's just my prediction. I have no clue, okay? It goes with a storm down here in Alabama. I cannot imagine if it was gone for months, okay? That can happen with a hurricane. That can happen very easily. And people are ruled by the almighty cell phone. And when you go without it for a while, it's a wake-up call. It was to me, those 8 days. It was to my husband. All right, guys. Let us know below what you think. See you next time on Homestead.